you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah. Come on.
I spent a few hours with him. I got one nugget that's had a huge impact on my business, and like, other than that, I don't care what you do. Like, you help me.
That's the thing, though, is like everybody thinks when they go to these like events and stuff that they're gonna get a life-changing full script. It's not, dude. It's small nuggets.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I spend time with so many people of that caliber. I don't want to go to your event. I don't want to listen to you speak. I want to see how you live, right, on a regular day-to-day basis. And then I want to watch the small stuff, because it's the small stuff that I'm going to get the nuggets from, and then I want to integrate.
Well, I had somebody that came with it. Like, we invited a couple buddies.
Yeah.
And one of them owns a practice, and he came and he was just like, he got caught up on this one close, and he lost him. I was like, man, that was 20 minutes into our 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, did you hear anything else, or were you so caught up on this one thing that you didn't agree with? Like, listen, if it doesn't align, let it go.
Yeah.
Let it fly back. But
Yeah.
if you're searching for the nuggets, you know, and out of a 2-hour presentation with his sales team, for him to give me something as simple as where I sit to build greater rapport or trust with a client, it's like, that'll impact my business as long as I'm doing business now. And
it's funny to watch him too, because he'll teach real principles that people won't even know that he's teaching. Like, as small as, like, he'll show you how to shake hands with somebody, how to look them in the eye, how to present yourself when you introduce yourself. Just the small shit that if you're not really watching, you're not really seeing. Oh, wait, that was a nugget. That was something that if I started implementing, it would change the whole energy and exchange if I'll just do that one thing. And a lot of people miss that stuff, but that's really what the events are. That's really what mentoring is. It's just small nuggets, dude, because you're small pieces away from changing astronomically where you're supposed to go. Yeah. It's just small changes. It's not like, I'm going to give you this huge playbook that's going to change your life. No, it's small nuggets, dude.
Yeah. You're headlining an event with Andy Elliott, and Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah.
What are you speaking on?
So this is a funny question. One of my favorite people who's become one of my really good friends is Ed Milet.
Yeah.
I heard him speak one time, and I was just like blown away. I was like, that's what I want to do, dude. I want us to speak. And then I heard him speak again and again and again. I've heard him speak 15 times since, and he has one clear message, and it's a beautiful message, right? But after I heard him a few times, I kind of was like, you know what? I don't want to ever speak on the same thing, ever. So with that, I was like, dude, that means sometimes I'm probably going to bomb, and that's okay. Because sometimes I'm going to crush, and I'm going to crush so many times that I'll be able to pull 15, 20, 30, 40 speeches. And that's where I'm at now. And so, like, I don't prepare my speeches. Like, I go in, I read the room, I spend about an hour before my speech looking at who's there, listening to what people are saying, kind of feeling the energy, and then I dictate my speech an hour before I get on stage.
And, like, right now,
so, like, I have no idea what I'm
this
speaking.
weekend.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm speaking.
You don't have a baseline quote that you're going to build off of,
Nothing.
Or an experience.
I text Andy, I was like, what do you want me to speak on? He's like, Keaton, I've heard you speak 100 times. You can speak on anything, any topic. He's like, this event is about leadership, but, like, that's, go, do whatever you want. Because he knows, like, when I speak, and it's awesome, actually, for me. Like, Andy will stop what he's doing and pull his pen and paper out and take notes the whole time I'm speaking, because he really gets a lot out of my speaking. That's why he wants me to speak at every event he has. But no, I don't prepare. I literally, I have so much knowledge of things I've learned and read and prepared. I literally, dude, I always go to an event. I spend as much time as I can there before I speak, seeing the crowd, seeing what people are doing, looking at their reactions. I spend a good amount of time in prayer, and then I literally just go, okay, 1 hour before, let's figure out what this crowd needs to hear. One of the things that I learned a really long time ago, and this is for anybody who speaks, when people get on stage to speak, they always want to impress people. That's normally what it is. Anytime, even for my big events, I have these great speakers come in. I know why they're there. They want to just impress everybody with they're the best speaker. And a long time ago, I realized that I wanted to express a message rather than impress a message. And so I spend a lot of time in meditation before I speak, just saying, God, help me to express the message that's going to change at least one person's life, and make me remember that I'm not here to impress them into the message, right? And then when I do that, it kind of calms my nerves, because I'm not there to impress anybody anymore. I just want to share a message, and I'm a messenger. That's what I'm there for. And something I say is going to change somebody's life. So I do that about an hour before the event or before I get on stage, and I always get like crazy energy and ideas as for what I'm going to speak on. I get up there and riff, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour and a half. And it usually, I've never had a bad speech so far, but it usually serves well.
And I wish the people that were attending this weekend could understand that before you hit the stage. You know, because there's some nobility in, hey, I prepared for the last 2 months for this moment.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, I'm dialed, I rehearsed it,
Yeah.
like, I got it like the back of my hand. I felt inspired to, put this speech together. I mean,
100%.
Ed's, there's the one in the
You're the
family,
one.
like, man, he can tell that story to me 50
100
times and I'm going to light it on fire after you hear it,
Yeah.
right? Because of who he is. But for you to tailor a message to an audience, I think one is good for the self-help world, because if I'm a multiple event attendee, I'm going to get a unique experience as I'm looking to work on whatever I'm working on. But man, I wish people could know that. I wish whoever your MC could
Yeah, dude,
express that.
It's
in a way.
funny. Now that I've spoken so much, most MCs do. In fact, I spoke in Idaho this last weekend. I didn't even know the MC.
Yeah.
And when he introduced me, he's like, listen, guys, this guy doesn't know I know him, but I followed him. I've heard his message. And he was like, this guy never speaks on the same thing, and he always speaks from his heart. And you're going to feel what he has to say today. And I promise you, it's nothing you've ever heard him say, which is true, right? So I'm like, okay, this guy's followed me. But the other thing is most people need to prepare in some way or another. And I've found that my brain, I think it's because I have ADHD, my brain doesn't do well when I put things together. For example, we had our TV show for years and years and years. If you told me what you wanted me to speak on, I could crush it for the camera. But as soon as they said, hey, we got to get through these 5 lines, it was a nightmare for me, dude. I'm not kidding you. It made me feel like I was mentally retarded, because they would try to give me lines and my brain just won't force in what I'm supposed to say. It just doesn't work that way. And I realized that really early on when I started speaking. I was like, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to be on the back end, and I'm going to prepare my ammunition so that I can speak on any topic to any person about anything, and inspire and motivate and teach and educate. And then when the time comes, I'm just going to go, all right, brain, you got to go to work. I'm not going to prepare anything, because my brain's going to go, I don't remember what word and what phrase and where I was supposed to go. And so because of that, that's the way I do it, and it's not how I tell a lot of people to prepare. I've got a really good friend who does a lot of speaking coaching. He's like, dude, you're the only person I've ever met that can't prepare a speech and then present it. He has to just present and just let it go. He's like, and you always crush, but he's like, everybody else has to have bullet points, they have to lay things out, they have to map things out, and that's just, my brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I have to ask, I would say Sparks and Twink, but I'll say Heavy D and Diesel Dave for the audience that might know him by that name. If you're not spitting out the lines, who are you guys pointing to out of you three to get a rehearsed ad out or a line
So
out?
Heavy D is really good at memorizing stuff and putting it down. They would give him pages and pages and pages, and he would read through them and read through them and read through them, and then he would present them really well. And they knew, our production team knew, they were like, do not give Keaton any lines, because if we do, we'll be here for 45 minutes with one line at a time. Because dude, it's weird how my brain works. It just didn't work well enough to be able to put stuff in, and then, it had to come from me, and it couldn't be forced in there. Even if I prepare it and give it to me, it's like, no, we're not going to work that way. Just let us speak from the heart. But Dave, Heavy D, is always the one that was like, all right, let's prepare. I've got 40 lines we're going to cover. All right, dude, you hit it. Don't ask me to do one of those lines. I'll just jump in when you need me to jump in.
Yeah. Well, what kind of, if that's the case and that's how your learning happened, what kind of student were you growing up?
Horrible student. I was horrible.
Effort or ability?
Probably lack of desire.
Yeah.
I had no desire ever in my life to jump through hoops, ever. I'm the worst at following rules. I never understood school. It didn't make sense to me. Like, you would ask me to learn something, and then you would tell me to repeat back to you how you want to hear how I learned it. It just didn't make sense. So everything I saw was just jumping through hoops, and I don't jump through hoops. So it wasn't lack of ability, it was lack of desire to do it. Like, if I put my mind to something, I'm very smart. But if you ask me to write a report on something that doesn't mean anything to me, I'm gonna go, no, I'm not gonna do that. I don't wanna do that. There's no purpose for it. Everything I realize in my life, everything I do has to have an outcome, and it has to be productive. I don't do busy work. I don't do things that waste time. I don't even do things that most people should do to prepare for success. Like, dude, I'll tell you, I've started 40 companies to this point in my life. I have never written a business proposal. Never. I've never done a spreadsheet. None of that stuff made sense to me. Like, for me, it was like, well, what is a business? A business is something that brings in revenue and puts money in my pocket. Okay, can I sell that? Can I sell that service? Can I sell that product? All right, let's go do it. And then I'd worry about the back end later. Like, even now, I own 5 companies, and I have CEOs, CPAs, COOs, and all of them, because it's like, all right, dude, I'm going to start the company. I'm going to learn how to sell the company. I'm going to learn how to sell everything in it. Then I'm going to figure out the back end. So, dude, when I went to school, I was a horrible, horrible student. And I do not agree with school at all. I think school's garbage. I was never a fan. And it's so funny, man. When I was 24, I started a dental office. When I was 25, I started a plastic surgery clinic. And I had doctors that worked for me. I was 24 years old. I didn't even get through college at all. I made it through half a semester. I barely had a 2.0 graduating in high school, and I've got doctors that work for me. And I realized that my superpower was like, dude, don't do anything that's not productive. And sometimes there's things you got to do that aren't productive to prepare you, which is a piece that I tell people, don't always follow everything that I do. But if all you ever do is seek through action to do things that make you productive, you'll always be successful, no matter what it is. Even if I make 100 mistakes, I'm going to make 100 mistakes that were productive enough to get me to the success where most people are still preparing for the first mistake. And so, like, for school, I even tell my kids, like, I told all my kids, I'm like, I'm not paying for college. If you want to go to college, you can get a scholarship, or you can pay for it yourself, because I think it's a waste of time. I think if you want to make real money, you want to have the life you want, you got to build a business, which has been dope. My 2 oldest daughters have built a business. I've watched them build a business. That's been phenomenal. And so, like,
they're 12 and
10.
Yeah.
And I've told all of them, like, if you want to go to school, I'll support whatever I'm okay for education. But the school system in and of itself, I don't agree with, because it treated me so wrong. You know, it was like, here's what we're going to teach you. Here's how we're going to test you. Here's what you're going to do. Here are the hoops you're going to jump through. And for me, for all of it, I was like, yeah, this does not work for me. And dude, for the longest time, I thought, I'm going to be a failure. I'm never going to be able to be successful, because that's the way school made me feel. And it's funny, man, most successful people, most successful entrepreneurs were D and C students. They weren't A students. The A students are the CEOs, the COOs, the CPAs, and they work for the D and C students.
Yeah. When you can hear these stories of these teachers that put the agenda aside for a little bit and just stop going through the motions, and they can see that they have somebody in the class where ability isn't the issue. It is, how can I harness their work ethic or their drive or their competitiveness or whatever it may be. Man, the difference in the outcome.
It's huge.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I really like privatized schools, because private schools are doing different things, right? They're not doing the normal testing. They're not doing the normal teaching, the normal curriculum, the normal education. They're going, you know what, man? This kid has something, and I want to pull it out of them, and I want to help them learn this skill of whatever they have that's going to make them become successful, whatever that is, And there's very few and far between teachers that will do that. The rest of them are really sticking to the book, and they're, and rightfully so. We don't pay teachers enough to care. And so you see these kids go through schools, and I watch kids that I know are going to be successful that just get crumbled in the school system, because that's the way you're supposed to do it. And there's a lot of history to it. Like, if you really go back with schooling was set up to create people to abide by a system, right? Like, is it weird that we have time schedules with bells that ring, with a timed recess, with a whole curriculum? Like, dude, that's not setting somebody up to break out of a box and go and explore the world and create whatever they want to create. That's setting up workers. That's what it is. That's why so many people feel more comfortable in a 9 to 5, because it's structure. I clock in, I clock out, I get my paycheck. And again, there are really good people who do good in school, and they're usually the ones that are successful as CEOs and CMOs. And I'm not saying those are bad people, because you can make a lot of money that way. But that's not the way it was for me. And that's why I literally, when I was 21, I came up with a saying, and it was, I would rather sink on my own ship than sail on somebody else's. And it was because I knew I could never become successful by doing something that somebody else told me that was the way I had to do it. I always had to be able to do it my own way. Whether that was the right way or not, it has served me really, really well. It's why I have the successes that I have.
Well, what was the tipping point then? Like, did you have a mentor? Did you have an aha moment? Because I'll call it society.
Yeah.
But society is telling you, hey, don't hold your breath. Like, these tests and these curriculums are telling you that you're not going to amount to much.
Yeah.
Like, where'd the switch flip, or who was instrumental in helping you see that, whether it was yourself and self-taught, or like,
Yeah,
did you have
so
anyone?
first off, because I want to just touch on that, if I could go back, there really isn't anything I have regrets in life, because I love the life that I have now, so I would never want to go back and change anything. The one regret I do have is I wish I would have got a mentor. It's the reason why I'm a mentor now, is I think I'd be a billionaire today if I would have gotten a mentor younger. I never had anybody. When I grew up, my father, he was the 9 to 5, go to college, get a degree, 401k, that's the safe route. He preached that and preached that. He used to say all the time, you're just going to be ending up flipping burgers the rest of your life if you can't get your good grades and get a good degree and blah, 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 blah. And he always led with, it's the safest route, right? When I got back from my mission at 21, my dad had been sick for a really long time. In fact, I thought he was going to pass away while I was on my mission, but he ended up living about 3 months after I got home. And I spent a lot of time with him on his deathbed. And I remember the conversations turned to regret because of the things that he hadn't done, and that he had taught us the safe route, and it wasn't safe. My dad was actually really successful in that atmosphere, right? He was the CEO of a company, he did the safe route. But the last 2 years of his life, they fired him because he was so sick. So he lost his job. The last 2 years of his life, he had no job. So he had preached and taught to every one of me and my siblings, like college, degree, safe route, 401k, retire when you're 65. And every single one of us saw firsthand that there's no safety in that. There isn't any safety in that. And so on his deathbed, I that's why I came up with that, like saying, like, dude, I do not want to be on my deathbed like my dad. I'm going to sink on my own ship before I sail on anybody else's. And you know what I don't want? I don't want somebody else dictating to me what I'm going to do with my life. I just don't want that. I don't want to clock in and clock out. And I don't want to be in a place, no matter how good I am, that they can fire me at any point. And I watched them do it to my dad. So when my dad passed away, I literally just went into serial entrepreneur mode. Like, I started building businesses and just doing that over and over and over again. And really quickly, I started to make a lot of money. I mean, relatively a lot of money for a 21, 22, 23-year-old. And I remember one of my first really successful businesses, I started a personal training company that we took trainers and put them in people's homes so people didn't have to go to the gym. They didn't need equipment. We called it MoFit. It stood for Mobile Fitness. And I remember when I was 23 doing $75,000 a month. And I was like, I am never, ever going back. There isn't a job in this world that's going to pay me 75 grand a month at 23 years old. Like, I'm not doing this, you know? So I fell in love with the whole entrepreneur thing, and I realized, like, dude, number one, no one's coming to save me. Number two, everything that I want, I can get, as long as I don't believe that there's really any limitations, which is a big issue for everybody. Everybody has, like, these limitations that they're given. So I just vowed I'm never going to work for anybody the rest of my life, and that's how I created my life.
Yeah. can you give a little bit of insight into why a mobile fitness company? I mean, you're known to most of the world as the muscle,
Yeah.
so I imagine you've had some
Yeah.
fondness for spending time around a gym or whatever it may be. But were you looking to be a trainer personally? Did you
Yeah,
see
so that's
need?
yeah,
Did
that's
you, like,
where I
how
started.
did it
I
get going?
started. I got back from my mission, and I wanted to. Stupid enough, I wanted to go and be in medicine. I want to be a doctor. My dad's death affected me so much that I was like, I want to be a doctor, you know. So I started, and that's why I tell you I did a little bit of college. I started to do pre-med, and I started to work with the deans of admission for the U of U's medical program, and I literally got into this place where I was like, this is not what I want to do. Like, this doesn't make any sense. So I left, and I was like, what am I going to do in the interim of figuring out what I want to do? And I was like, I want to be a personal trainer. I don't work for anybody. I go to the gym, I build my own clientele, they pay me, whatever, you know. So I started doing personal training, fell in love with it, loved it, because it was really coaching, right? Which is what I do now. And I started seeing great money. And I was like, dude, there are so many people who would pay for a trainer that don't want to come to the gym. And I started to see a lot of pretty heavy set people come in and go, always say the same thing, I'm really uncomfortable, I don't know if I want to be here. So I was like, you know what, dude, that's a void. We have a lot of people in the world that just don't come to gyms because they fill out a place in the gym. So I should take it to people's houses. And so that's why we started that mobile fitness. I was like, dude, let's go into these houses. Let's go knock on doors and be like, hey, you want to get in good shape? We'll get you. You don't need a gym. You don't need equipment. You don't need anything. We'll, for $300, $600, $800 a month, we'll come and train you in your home. So I started with like myself and one other trainer, bought some equipment. It was cheap as hell. And we just started rolling, and at one point we had 6 trainers just working from 5 in the morning till 5 o'clock at night, just training and training and training. And real quickly I realized, like, oh yeah, this is a great business.
This is how I hear it, so you can correct me if it's not on par with what actually happened. But I hear that you wanted to be a trainer so you could do something that you were passionate about. There's some certain gratification with helping other people get to where they're trying to go. And freedom of schedule.
Yeah.
Like, you can train people
Absolutely.
at 5 a.m., you can be done by 10 a.m., you can train people at 10 at night.
Yeah.
But I don't hear, like, I'm going to be rich.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not starting to be a trainer because I want to be wealthy.
No.
Where did the switch flip from, like, all right, I've got something here, but what I think is great money today
Yeah.
with a combined schedule that I like, there's an opportunity to XYZ. Like, where did
So the
that
switch came when
happen?
I started hiring trainers, and I was like, wait, so I can charge $50 a session, and I can pay a trainer $25 a session, and I could hire as many trainers as want to come on, and I can start making money while I'm sleeping. I'm in. That's where it came. And all of a sudden I pulled out and I started just running the business and taking care of everything, and I was like, holy shit, like, I'm making great money and I'm not even really working anymore. That's where that switch came. And then I realized real money comes when you get people to work for you, you know, ultimately. And then that's when I was like, all right, dude, I'm building businesses. That's what I want to do. And that was pretty much it from then on out.
Do you think that early on you were more financial focused or more lifestyle focused?
Financial. Absolutely. So when my father passed away, I tell this a lot actually when I speak. I remember some of my last conversations with my dad. I said, Dad, are you afraid to die? And he said, no, I'm not afraid to die, but I'm really, really afraid to leave you and all of my children and my wife without any income. Like, I'm really afraid of that. And I remember at the time, just because I felt like it was the right thing to say, I remember saying, Dad, I promise you I'll take care of everything. I was the oldest. And after that experience, I put in my mind that I had to become a millionaire before I was 30. Like, that was my, like, focus. It was all financial. It had nothing to do with lifestyle. Because that's ultimately, like, I get it. Everybody wants to have a cool lifestyle. Everybody wants to build a business they're passionate about. But the truth is that boring businesses are usually the ones that make you the most money. So forget passion and just go after making a ton of money so you can live your passions and not make them work. And it actually is one of the things that burned down my first marriage. I was so singularly focused on making as much money as I could because in my mind, I had to take care of 5 siblings. I had to take care of a mom. You know, I had to do all of those things, which ultimately I did through that time. And I did it. I accomplished it. I had a bank account by the time I was 29 years old. And obviously I burned everything down, like my marriage, a lot of relationships, because I was so focused on that. But even from the beginning, dude, it was always financial. I remember when I was in my pre-med stuff, I worked in a neonatology research lab, like to get in with the deans of admission, and I would always ask the doctors that would roll through, hey, what do you think? How do you feel? And I always got the exact same answer. If you're here to be rich, get another job. Because being a doctor doesn't make you rich. You might make some good money, but you're going to be so tied to your schedule, and you have so much debt, and you come. It's like, dude, you're not going to be rich till you're 40, and even then, you're going to be so booked out. It's not going to be worth having the money. So, because I was singularly focused on finances, I was like, all right, this isn't what I want to do. No matter how good of a doctor I become, I can make a few $1 million a year, but I'm going to be tied up. I don't want to do that. So by the time I really hit $1 million, and I remember this very vividly because I screenshotted my bank account. It was $1 million, 13,000, and I remember thinking, like, I don't feel any different. I don't feel like I accomplished what I should accomplish. And that was the turning point in my life where I said, you know what I want? I want to make money, but I also want to live the life that I want to live. Like, that's what I want. Like, money is just a tool. That's all money is. It's not evil. It's not good. It's just a tool. And I realized that by the time I was 29, after I burned everything down. And from that point, I began to build businesses, boring businesses, other businesses that gave me time and money because I wanted to have time to do the things I wanted to do in my life. And that's ultimately what I teach people now is it's like, listen, if you want to get filthy rich, don't come to me. I'm not the mentor for you. If you want to build the absolute best life that you could possibly imagine, I'll show you how to do that. And it's not going to be a billionaire. It's not going to have $150 million. It's going to have a lot of money, but it's going to have all the time in the world. And that's when my whole mindset shifted to like, dude, there's so much more in life than just making money. I got to make money because you got to have money. But I got to live the life that I want, and there has to be something in there that I can figure out how to do that. And then from that point on, everything just began to click and make sense as for what I wanted to accomplish.
You're confusing me with thought I've just been in for the last probably 5 or 6 years. Someone introduced to me the concept of when you're building a business, he encouraged me to decide if I wanted to build a lifestyle business or a legacy business. And he defined lifestyle business as what do you need to generate via income to live the lifestyle that would make you the most happy now. And it's not just going to appear, like you got to go put in the work, like you got to go grind, but you're grinding to a certain dollar amount. Is that $600,000 a year? Is that $2 million? Whatever it is, like you pick that number and you build something that can survive without you so you can have the lifestyle, meaning hire key people, surround yourself with good teams, build systems and processes that allow you to, go spend time with whatever's most important to you. Or a legacy business, which is you build something that exists far after you're gone. And those are usually a lot of the stories of the marriages are gone and not many relationships.
Most of the people that build that legacy are miserable people. Miserable.
But you're confusing me because I feel like you're doing both, meaning you're building a lifestyle business. I mean, you play as hard as anyone, right? We're going to Lake Powell with, the Logan and Jake Paul, and you're on a helicopter on Sunday afternoons, and you're, in Arizona, all this stuff. Like you guys play as much as anyone. But you're leaving a legacy by teaching other people to do it. It's unique. It's the first time I've had the two intertwined.
So I would tell you, there's no reason you can't do both. There isn't. Like, to define you either have to build a legacy or you have to build a lifestyle is bullshit. That would be a limitation. There's no limitations, dude. Like, I'm a walking person doing that right now. I'm gonna have a huge legacy, and I'm also gonna have a lifestyle that I want. And I'm literally, and dude, and when I spoke, I always like to get on stage and tell people, listen, dude, you're gonna have a lot of people more successful than me, richer than me, whatever. But I'll tell you what you're not gonna see a lot of. You're not gonna see somebody stand in front of you that has the exact life that they wanted. Exactly. My life is exactly the way that I wanted, and it will continue to be that way. And the reason is because I know that you can do both, and most people don't. Most people go, well, if I'm going to build a legacy, I got to I gotta focus. There's no balance. There's no life. There's no family. There's no relationships. It's just build, 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 build. And then one day I'll have billions of dollars and I won't even know what to do with it because I don't have any friends. Nobody wants to be around me. And then the other one is like, well, you could do a lifestyle, but you're only gonna make a few $100,000. And the truth is you really can do both. One of the best things I ever learned was from Tony Robbins. I asked him, I said, you know where I'm at, you know who I am, and I don't want the same advice you would just give the random person. What advice would you give me? And he goes, Keaton, this is what I would tell you. You need to know that there's no difference between $10 million and $100 million. And I remember that, I'm like, yep, there's quite a bit of difference there. And he said, there's not. He said, what can you do with $100 million you can't do with $10 million? And I'm like, own a plane? He's like, you're right, you can't own a plane, but you can rent a plane whenever you want. So the lifestyle's still the same. Well, I can't.
50 hours a year or something like that, whatever.
Yeah, you could. I charter planes all the time. I don't own one. I charter a plane 3 or 4 times a month. I don't own one. I didn't buy a $20 million plane, but I spend about $1 million a year on charters. Same lifestyle. And what he said was most people waste their lives from that 10 million to 100 million, not realizing that the lifestyle itself doesn't actually change, right? Like we were talking about just barely financing a helicopter. Now, if you had $100 million, you would just buy the helicopter. But if you have $10 million that you make a year, you would figure out how to finance it. Is the lifestyle any different? No different. But I'll tell you what's different. The guy who made 10 million had so much time with his family and friends and so much time in his lifestyle. And the guy that did 100 million did nothing but work to get to 100 million. So he blew off everything else. And I remember thinking like, shit, he's right. Like, why would I waste my life trying to get to another level of finances that doesn't actually change my lifestyle? Because we're only supposed to make money to get what we want out of life. Like, because again, money's just a tool to provide for me and my family and everybody around me resources. That's it. But if the lifestyle doesn't change, why am I wasting my life away to build the legacy, right? And then when you understand that, then that's when the true legacy starts to be built. Like, my legacy is going to be left behind. Like, dude, maybe I'll go to the grave with $0 to my name. But I'll go with living the exact life I wanted, spending the exact money that I wanted to spend, with the exact legacy I want to leave, which is that dude lived his life exactly the way he wanted. And you know what the best part is? I spend a lot of time with people with a lot of money. And most of them are miserable. In fact, I even mentor people that make way more money than I do. But the reason they want me to mentor them is because they can't figure out how to have the life that they want, even though they've made the money that they want. So many people make so much money, they don't even know what to do with the lifestyle, right? I have people, Ed Milet's one of them. I was just on the phone with him last week. I bought him a razor for his birthday. And I sent it out to his island and he called me. He's like, thanks so much. This is so dope. He's like, I just want to tell you, I think it's so cool that you are living what you're doing and you have all the things you want and you're still integrating your family into every aspect and your friends into every aspect. He's like, the one regret I have? He's like, yeah, I got $800 million, but I don't have the relationships. And I worked my life away to the point now where I'm like, dude, I just want some time with my son. I just want some time with my children. And he said to me, he goes, Keaton, you need to lean into this because so many people like me wasted their lives not realizing that you can have the lifestyle, build the legacy, make the money that you want. And when you realize that it's not 100 million and this big legacy that you have to chase and forsake everything else, you then go, oh shit, what the hell was I doing? I should have slowed down and spent more time here and here and here, and it wouldn't have changed the lifestyle at all. It just would have given me the best parts of life, because the best parts of life is the experiences. That's it. Nobody cares when you die how much money you have. Nobody. The only thing that's left when you die is the memories and the relationships that you created. That's it. So you go and you meet these people who've made all this money building a legacy, and they're like, what do you do? I'm miserable. Nobody likes me. Nobody wants to be around me. Well, that's cool, dude. How's that boat by yourself in the middle of the ocean? Nobody wants that. They think they do. They don't want that. See, again, it's this limiting belief thinking you have to either have one or the other, and you don't, dude. You can have both. One of the reasons Heavy D and I are such good friends is because we understand that principle. We'll both leave a great legacy. And we both won't have $200, $300, $400 million, but we will have lived like we did and have what we wanted in everything else. And that's the greatest thing.
Yeah. You brought up Heavy D, and you're getting asked to speak on stages all over the country, multiple times a month. I imagine if it hasn't already, it's going to be all over the world soon.
It actually is. I just I've spoken in Canada, and I just got asked. I charge a lot of money to speak now. I just got asked to speak in Mexico. He's offered me $100,000 to come speak in Mexico, and I'm like, this is dope, man. I'm an international speaker now. This is dope.
And most people got to know you, or we think that they got to know you because you guys had the #1 show on Discovery for a lot of years.
Yeah.
But the TV show, you guys were up to stuff before the TV show came around. I would, at least how I saw it, because I didn't know you quite as much, but I knew the Daves since 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
And you guys were creating before the TV show. It wasn't like someone came and said, oh, hey, these guys might be good on camera, and then all of a sudden some TV show made you guys. You guys were up to quite a bit before.
Well, and that's kind of the point of even what we're talking about. We had created a lifestyle well before we were rich. Like, dude, we were doing fun shit from the very beginning. It's why people wanted to watch us. And that was the coolest thing. And you know, it's funny now, I have to combat. Everybody looks at me and they're like, well, you're successful because you had a TV show. No, TV doesn't pay. And even if it did, then all of us would be filthy rich, and we're not. Now, did it help with notoriety and credibility? Absolutely. Did it help us get out in front of more people? Absolutely. But all of us were creating well before. I mean, dude, I had started 7 companies by the time the TV show started. I built 10 companies during the TV show, and I built 20 cents. That wasn't by any means who we were or what we did, but they filmed us because our lifestyle was so dope. And that's what people wanted to see, you know?
Yeah, you guys had a few 100,000 followers between you guys before the TV show ever came along, and you guys were already starting to use your influence to build a business. Can you tell people, like, take them back a little bit? And we'll get into what you're doing now, because I think that that's what most people know, and what you're doing with Limitless, and what you're doing coaching, you know, other entrepreneurs. But give people a little insight of the strategic move to decide to do a TV show from what you were doing. So you were building trucks that started young, or that was later? Like, that was more of a hobby?
That was just a fun hobby. Diesel Dave, Heavy D, and I, we were always building trucks because we just like to build trucks. And then Heavy D and Diesel Dave decided to come up with an idea where we would monetize Facebook. Nobody thought back then that you could monetize from social media. And we were like, well, let's sell shirts and hats, and every dollar they spend with us, we're going to give them a truck, right? They can enter in to win a truck. And we did that for 3 or 4 years before the show ever saw us. And when the show came, we turned them down for a year. We were like, no way, dude, we're doing what we want to do. We're loving what we're doing. We're making good money. We don't want to do the TV show. But finally we decided, all right, we'll look at this. You know, a lot of people are like, the TV show's going to be great for you guys. And then, so like in 2013, 14, we were like, all right, let's try a TV show. They came out and filmed us for a week, and they were like, you guys are insane. The lifestyle that you guys live is absolutely insane. What you guys do, what you build, how you live, your families, everything. We really want to do a TV show. So they talked us into it. And we started our first season, and our first season was crazy. It blew up, we blew up, and then I think we had the show until 2022 was kind of the last time that an episode aired. So almost 10 years of the TV show. And it was, it was just this thing filming us living our lives, and we got to the point where we didn't even want to film. Like, they would have to make us come and film, because they're like, nah, we're doing our own shit. We want to film it. Nah, we don't want you to. And that's ultimately why it ended. We didn't get kicked off Discovery. We left. We were all like, we're done. We don't want to film anymore. And they're like, are you guys crazy? Everybody wants their own TV show. Everybody wants a reality show. Like, yeah, we don't want to do this anymore because we're living the life we want to live, and you're just kind of a stumbling block for us, so we don't want to do it anymore. So we ended up leaving. But again, and I tell people this all the time, it was definitely help to get us into doors that we otherwise couldn't have, you know. But by no means was the TV show a part of financial success for any of us. It was more of a drain than it was anything.
How did you guys decide that it was going to be a worthwhile model and a build? Like, did you guys already have a build that someone offered to buy, and you're like, all right, how much are we into this thing?
Yeah.
We're into this truck. $35 grand.
Yeah,
And
ultimately,
can we make that money
Yeah.
back by selling? And did you have any losers to start
no,
off?
I'll tell you, man, this was all heavy D.
Because it's called the giveaway model.
Yeah, it's the
right?
giveaway
Like
model.
now
And
that's what
yeah,
people
we
know.
launched that giveaway. We were the godfathers of the giveaway model.
Right.
Heavy D was like, we're going to do this. We're going to go 75 grand into a truck, and let's hope we sell shirts and hats and cover the cost, right? We had no idea. It was a huge risk.
Yeah.
100%
Personal
on
money?
it.
Did you get investors?
Personal money.
Okay.
I think we even had a loan on the truck.
Okay.
Like, it was crazy. And our first giveaway, I think we did like $400,000 to $500,000 in sales, and we were like, oh shit, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
And I think we've done 130, 40 giveaways since that time.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just always been really, really successful. There's been some where we spent too much money on the giveaway and we found kind of the model that works the best. But they've always been beneficial. As of about 2017, the giveaway model really died. Everybody's doing a giveaway. It doesn't really spark any interest. You know, we tried to do the cash thing. That didn't work. A lot of giveaway models don't work anymore. That's one of the things I tell people. They're like, hey, dude, can you help me in my giveaway? And I'm like, I'll tell you right now, it's going to be very, very hard. It's going to be an uphill battle because it's not new anymore. Everybody's seen it. Everybody knows they're not going to win. You know, dude, you have 200,000 people in. The chances of 1 in 200,000, people know they're not going to win. And so that has kind of faded. But yeah, in the beginning, it was big, big risk.
Hey, listen, I got a brother that for the end of time, if you guys do a giveaway, he will buy a piece
Yeah.
of your merch. So
Yeah.
but you're right. I mean, I looked at it. I owned a flooring company for a little while, and I thought, oh, we can give away wood floors for a whole house, which could be 90 grand or 300 grand worth of floors,
Yeah.
you know, to win. But what we struggled with was, how do we get to enough people to tell them that we're giving away floors? So
Yeah.
how did you guys how did you build the initial audience that you could introduce it to, or did you gain the audience because you were doing the giveaways? Like, was there
It was
chicken?
both. Yeah, it was both. So we realized the more people that were following us, the more built-in audience we had. Now, most people, when they do a giveaway model, they just dump a ton of money into marketing and hope that that marketing is good enough to get people in. At that point, when we like decided that this made sense, is we started a page called Diesel Trucks for Sale on Facebook, and it just blew up overnight. 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers, 300,000 followers. Before the show started, we had 1 million followers on a diesel seller classifieds page on Facebook.
Guys that
that's
like
what
to
it was.
work on trucks, guys
They like
that wanted
trucks,
to
they want to
dream,
buy, yeah,
whatever, all of
that.
it.
And so that's what we used. That's how we made our money. We had a built-in audience. Now, after 2016, it was like, okay, now people are starting to do it. Now we got to start putting money into marketing. I think in 2017 or 18, we spent $25 million in ads. Like, it was a lot, and it got to the point where it didn't make sense anymore because it was like, dude, we're going to make 26 million and spend 25. Like, this does not make sense anymore. And so again, that's why I tell people, like, if you're thinking about doing a giveaway model, hire a mentor who's done it, because you're going to end up losing money if you don't. I watch people do it all the time.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question that I'm battling with right now?
Yeah.
You know, we started the podcast for a couple of reasons. I shared that with you, and anyone that's been listening knows why we started this. But there's a little hesitancy that something goes viral, and I shared a story with you. Me and Sparks, or Heavy D, are up by Big Sur in California at little podunk, you know, breakfast spots on a motorcycle ride, and we couldn't sit 15 minutes without people coming and,
Yeah.
hey, can I get a picture? How's it going? To someone that's looking because they see what you've created and they see the life that you're living, that is going to go create in the world to gain a following of influence. Like, their goal is to gain 1 million followers. I want
Yeah.
1 million organic followers to subscribe to whatever I'm offering. You have anything for those people with what you've been through for the last 10 years on being as recognizable as you guys are?
I tell this, and this is a hard truth. If you're not willing to put yourself out there and become somebody of influence, then don't do it. Like, if you're not willing to go to a restaurant and have somebody say, hey man, I love your stuff, can I get an autograph, can I get a picture, then don't do it. It's not that bad. But that's how you become successful. The more people you influence, the more money you make, the more success you have, plain and simple. Anybody who's like, I don't really want to have followers. Okay, then you don't really want to be successful. The more followers you have, the more people you influence, the more money you make, plain and simple. That's how the game works. And I have people all the time, they're like, oh, is it hard to be famous? Is it that? No. What's the trade-in? A 9-to-5 working concrete job? No, that's hard. This isn't hard. Like, yeah, dude, don't get me wrong. I don't love going out to dinner with my family and having 15 people say, hey, can I get a picture? Can I get an autograph? I remember just last week I was in Vegas, and this guy, he was following me around the casino, and he's like, sorry, dude, I just really want to get a picture with you. And I had gone into the bathroom to piss at the urinal, and he asked me at the urinal, and I'm like, dude, no, you can't get a picture right now. We can walk outside the bathroom, right? Like, but that's not, like, that's what you're going to complain about. It's funny, dude, I watch these, like, big celebrities, people who have just crazy lives, and everybody wants to get a picture, and they're like, oh, I hate my life. This is so, I'm like, dude, go work concrete 5 days a week. Tell me your life is so hard. Like, come on, dude, that's not hard shit. You're trading working all day long, laboring for you're now famous and people want to take a picture with you? No. But I will say, if that's not the lifestyle you want, then don't plan on being crazy successful. It's just, you know, it is what it is. Anybody in any industry, even if you're a 9-to-5er, like if you start to build a real social media following, you're going to become 10 times more successful. I got a guy that I'm mentoring that he's in crazy good shape. He owns a flooring company, and I was like, bro, you need to be posting a ton. You have a crazy, insane body, and people will love to follow you. And he's like, I just don't know if I want that. You know, I don't know if I, blah, 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 blah. Dude, it was 8 months ago. As of today, he has 95,000 followers. And he's posting every day. And dude, people are recognizing him.
He just has a good presence about him.
He has a great presence, great energy.
And
yeah. And dude, his business has 10x'd from his following. Because people are like, dude, I love that guy. I want to get my flooring from that guy. He owns a flooring company. And he built a social media presence. He has influence now. He's making more money. And guess what, dude? He traded in being private. People now notice you when you go out. That's what it is. But you're making 10 times the money. So is that what you want? If it is, don't complain about, you know, the following and having people come out and, you know, because again, when Diesel Dave, Heavy D and I, we go anywhere, we get stopped everywhere. Never going to hear me complaining about that. I may say, I don't really want to do this right now. Let me take a quick picture. But you're not going to hear me go, oh, this is so shitty. No. I worked construction, man. I know what hard is. This isn't hard.
Yeah.
And I make money from all these people, so why would I be upset about it, you know?
You got blown up a little bit in the last week, the fire incident.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone had their opinion on how you should have
everybody.
handled that.
Yeah.
You know, and let's say you have somebody right now that's hearing what you've created via influence and creating a presence online and sharing their gift with people or why, you know, their craft, and the trolls start kicking in. They get that first comment that tells them what they said wasn't accurate, or this guy's a loser, this guy's an idiot, like, hey, you know, because you see it.
Yeah.
Like,
All
they
the
get
time.
their jollies off of whatever that they create, these keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
What are you telling to the person to get over that hump? Are you silencing notifications? Do you stay away from the comment section? Like, how are you interacting with that first phase of being, like, what's your advice to somebody that's going to deal with that first phase of being publicly criticized?
You know, the greatest and most freeing moment of anyone's life is when you let go of people's opinions. Most people are dictated by what their parents think, what their peers think, what their teachers think, what their significant other thinks. And most of their life is dictated that way. And it's a pretty slave-based life. Like, I'm making all my decisions on, well, what will they think? What will they say? How will they feel? The most freeing moment of a man or a woman's life is when you let go of worrying about what people think. And here's the thing. Everybody always says the first half of it, which is what? Oh, forget the haters, right? But that's only the first half. That's the real part of it is when you forget and let go of the people who also give you praise. So if I tell people, oh, I don't care what people say about me bad, and then someone comes to me and praises me and it changes me, oh, I'm so grateful that you loved what I did, oh, you're so great, you know, and it changes me, then I'm not really free from opinion. The most freeing moment in my life is when I don't care whether you like me, love me, hate me, give me praise, give me criticism, none of it matters to me at all. And when you get there, it's freeing. Now, no one is naturally able to do that from the beginning, so you got to go through the fire. And the fire is seeing those comments and dealing with those things. But if you start to really work on it and go, man, I'm not going to worry about what people think anymore. I don't care what people think. that's when you'll slowly get into the process of like, all right, first I got to get rid of the idea that I care about the haters, and then if I really want to accomplish this, I got to stop worrying about the praises too. I tell people all the time, I speak a lot now, and when I get off stage, I usually have a line of people that want to thank me for my speech, and I love that. But without fail, I always run through the same exact rhetoric in my mind. People say, oh, that was the best speech I've ever heard, you're incredible, you're blah, 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 and I always go, what do I think? Because what I think is the only thing that matters. And again, I would never say to them, I don't care if you liked me. I wouldn't say that because I don't want to, hurt people's feelings. But dude, it doesn't matter to me. If you loved my speech, great. It doesn't affect me either way. Whether it's hate or whether it's praise, it doesn't affect me either way, because I then get into the rhetoric of what do I think, and that's the most freeing thing in the whole entire world, greatest thing in the world. But you can't get there until you do both sides of that scale. That's why it's funny, I hear people all the time say, oh, I don't care about the haters, and then I see them soak up the praise, and I'm like, well, you definitely care about opinion, so I know you care about the haters. You gotta let go of it altogether. And I'm working with my children on this whole concept. How do I teach them not to care about what people think? And it's funny, my daughters, just last week, they drew me a picture, and they all came in to give me the picture. And they're like, Dad, what do you think? What do you think of my picture? And I stopped them and I said, well, what do you think of the picture? What's your opinion of the picture? Because that's all that matters. Do you love it? Are you happy with what you did? Well, yeah, of course I am. What do you think? It doesn't matter what I love it, but it doesn't matter what I think. What do you think of it? And in that, I'm trying to create in them the ability to not care about what other people think, seeking praise from other people and worrying about criticism from other people. Because if I can give that to them, oh man, they will be crazy successful. I'll tell you the number one piece to success, the most freeing thing in the world, is letting go of people's opinions, good or bad, and only worrying about one opinion, yours. Because then you can actually have the life that you want and create it the way you want it without fear. Well, what will they think? How will they feel? What will they say? I don't care. Don't care at all. I read a lot of those comments on the fire, and I'm like, don't care.
It's a gasoline fire. What's
and
a fire extinguisher going to do?
Yeah, there was a lot of
whatever,
good comments. Oh, dude, you stopped the fire. You did it. And I'm just like, same thing. I don't care.
Yeah.
Neither of those comments matter to me.
I hope my daughter's in the room right now. For anyone that can't see that's watching it, we're at a daddy-daughter camp up in Utah, and she's here. And man, if I could have her re-listen to something 100 times, it would be that message.
Yeah.
I'm not caring what people think.
Absolutely.
And just being you.
And it's so important for girls too. Like girls, I think even more than boys, are so influenced by what other people think. Like I think I watch my nephews, and they're like, they don't give a shit. Like you could get mad at them, you could be happy with them, they don't care. But I watch my daughters, and what I say to them really affects them. Because they're concerned about my opinion.
Yeah.
And I want so much to portray the message to them, like, dude, forget about my opinion. What do you think about what you created? That's the only thing that matters. So when you step off stage, when you step out of a competition, when you step off of the field, and everybody there says you did a horrible job, and everybody there says you did a great job, it doesn't matter. Because you should only be asking yourself, well, what do I think about what I did? And dude, there's been plenty of times I've stepped off a stage and everybody there's in tears and everybody there says I crushed it, but I know that I didn't crush it. So I got to get better.
Yeah.
Because in my own opinion, the only one that matters, I didn't do what I should have done, and that's the only thing. No praise is going to change that. And if I crush it on stage and everybody thinks it was horrible, I'm good, man. What do I think? And I'm good with it.
Well, it's not, what I'd have people hear is it's not just you that can overcome this. You have a coaching company now. I'm not going to say that you're just a coach. You have a coaching company now. And one of my lifelong childhood friends came to your Limitless Society event.
Yeah.
And you guys had a history together.
Yeah.
But he flew from small town Arizona, came to your event. Next thing you know, he's hosting an event in Arizona. Tim Tebow is the headline speaker. He has Taysom Hill. He has who else came to that? But he hosted this event, and I saw people from the small town turn on him a little bit.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be the high school coach, and you're doing, like, now you're just trying to make money off of people, and whatever their opinions have. And it was really cool to see how his authenticity came through that.
Yeah.
And You know, I don't know. I
And
haven't
we-
spoken to him
we-
about
we-
it, but I
we had-
imagine
yeah,
these
so-
were
so he-
conversations that you worked with him to get through.
Yeah,
to
exactly. We
find
do a
his
lot of
passion.
one-on-one coaching, a lot of one-on-one mentoring, and that was the first thing. Like, he came to me and was like, dude, I don't know if I was built for this. Like, I'm having people hate on me, and I'm having all these things, and I'm like, I just said to him, I was like, what are you doing this for? Are you doing it for their praise, or are you doing it because that's what you want to do? He was like, well, I'm doing it because this is what I want to do. Then why do you care about what they have to say?
Yeah.
And in your heart, are you doing what you feel like you should be doing? Yes. Okay, then that's the only approval you should seek. You. And it switched, dude. It changed. He was like, all right, I'm going harder. You should go harder. If that's what your heart tells you to do, you should go harder. And here's the thing with criticism. Sometimes you get criticism and you check yourself and you go, you know what? What do I think? I think they're right, and I should change that. Which is a great way to look at life, right? I don't tell you not to listen to people. Take it, eat it. If it makes sense, digest it. If it doesn't, spit it out. But ultimately, the only person that makes the decision is you, you know? And when we started working together, he was not ready for that kind of hate. He got a lot. But after the event and after all the lives he saw change and all the people see success and all the motivation and inspiration and education that people got, he was like, oh, this is why I did it. There's not enough people in this city to turn me down from doing this again because I know that this is beneficial. And it shifted in his mind, and he's done great. We're going to do another event, I think in 3 or 4 months with Tim Tebow and a few other really good speakers, and he's going to crush it.
Yeah. Can you, I want people to hear about this before we go our separate ways today, because your events are getting massive.
Yeah.
You have the Limitless Society event. You held it in, the name's changed a couple times, but it's the Vivint Arena. What's it
Maverick.
called? The Maverick Arena.
Center.
Okay, the Maverick Center.
Yeah.
The first time you and I got to like actually talk, right? We ran similar circles for a long time, but you shared with me what your last event costs.
Yeah.
And that's money out of your pocket.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee on that return or if it's
Yeah.
going to come back. Because I want people to hear how accessible it is if it's important to them to generate a certain amount of income.
Yeah.
Can you take me through some of the basics of throwing an event? Like, who are you calling to get it?
Yeah.
Hey, Maverick Center,
Yeah.
have you ever seen Diesel Brothers? Or like, do you know, how do you
So
get
it's
an event and get
Yeah.
people to come out? Like, I've seen your marketing campaigns, like
Yeah.
I've seen something like that stuff, but you spent over $1 million out of your own pocket.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care who you are, that's a risk.
Yeah.
You know, like you're
Absolutely.
betting on yourself. There's this period of betting on yourself. Can you take somebody through what like
Kind
that
of
is
the
throwing on an
process.
event and how you could the
Yeah.
monetization side
So
of it?
it's really, really hard, but I teach 2 really, really big principles for success, and that is, you should, if you want to be successful, you should spend money on yourself, invest in yourself, and then you should spend money on your business. That's where you should put your money. Plain and simple. It's pretty simple. I don't know why people don't understand that, but a lot of people don't understand that. So I essentially wanted to do an event that was life-changing, that was life-altering, that was pivoting for people, that built in them inspiration, motivation, but also like informed and educated them on how to change their life, right? And I knew that this was going to be a big investment, but I knew that it would ultimately yield what I wanted it to yield, which was the success that we saw.
Which, just to break that down, if you could go and be with people in a certain way and impact their lives a certain way, it would generate clientele for you in the coaching business, or they'd buy a product from you?
No,
or
I know this is different because everybody's the same. I never built those to pitch or sell products. I built them as value. I wanted to be the only event in the world that when people left, they were like, wow, I got a lot of value out of that. And he didn't pitch me on some shit. Like, that was the biggest issue when I saw events, is it was like people were doing all this and bringing all these people together, and it was all set up to have one big swing to the pitch and then get them to buy. I hated that. It felt disingenuous to me. So I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to bring 10,000 entrepreneurs together, and I want to bring value to them. That's what I want. That's what the event was for, ultimately. So I was like, well, what's it going to cost? I started talking to talent agents. I started talking to the event centers. Hey, I want to book a date. How much is it? And then I started to put together a structure of a team of what it's going to take to put on the event. And I told everybody, I was like, I want 7,500 people there. And I was like, no, nobody does events like that. You're not an artist. You're not going to put a concert together. You're not playing the NBA. 7,500 people are not showing up in an arena, you know, and that kind of fueled me even more because I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. I appreciate your opinion, but I'm going to do it. And then I just said, okay, I know it's going to cost me about $1 million in speakers, and I know it's probably going to cost me about $1 million in everything else. I know I'm going to be about $2 million into this. Now I hope it yields at least some return or breaks even, because I want to be the person that brings value to people. And I don't want to bring them all together and then pitch them and make a ton of money, because then it just becomes this pitch fest, which I won't name names, but that's what a lot of people do in this space.
Yeah, and you're recouping money through ticket sales and maybe pre-event gatherings, or like special VIP
we do two things. I have my most valuable asset is my ability to connect with people and network with people and add value to people. And so what I did was, instead of just wanting to hear people on stage like Ed Milet and David Goggins and Andy Frisella and all these great people, I thought, what if I could get them in the rooms with people? So I put on the event, and I said, the night before the event, I'm going to host in my home a VIP event where you get to come and you get to meet the speakers and you just get to hang out with them for 5 hours. All you're doing is hanging out with them. You're networking with them, and it's very expensive. It was $10,000 a ticket. I can only have 200 people at my house plus the speakers. So we did two pieces. Number one was the VIP, which a lot of people saw a lot of value in. And then the next day we have the event where all the speakers get on stage and they speak. So essentially the way we made money was the ticket sales to the event, 7,500 tickets, and then I think we did about 120 people to the VIP the night before, and that's ultimately how I recoup my money. None of the events have been crazy profitable, but again, they're pushing for me.
I'm gonna fight on you on that.
The Limitless Society group and the mentoring and the whole thing. And that's ultimately what my investment is for, is like, I want people to see me as someone who is going to bring value to you that will change your life. Now, I know that my P&L for the event is gonna show, all right, dude, you made a few $100,000. But I know that those events skyrocketed me in the coaching space and in the mentoring space, because people got to see me, see my heart, and see what value I give to them, and go, this isn't just a normal person trying to make money. This isn't just some guy who's never built a business teaching people how to build businesses. This isn't some guy who's bringing people together and then pitching them on some bullshit that they don't need. This is somebody who actually wants to make an impact in the world. And ultimately, that's what has skyrocketed. Man, dude, Limitless Society, my coaching group, we're 2 years old, and we're the fastest growing coaching group in the world right now, because of events like that, because of the things that we do. So again, to say there's no ROI obviously is not true, but an ROI on the event itself, ultimately, there wasn't a ton.
Well, ROI via dollars in an account. What I would hope people would hear in that is that if you can provide enough value in whatever setting that you're in.
Absolutely.
I don't know how to define it. I don't know really how to put words to it, but you can call it karma, good fortune, whatever, that if you can provide enough value, I believe that it will come back around
100%.
And that your eyes are obviously open.
Absolutely. And then when more people see that someone is trying to bring them value rather than just pitching them something, they will ultimately want to be a part of whatever that is. Because if I can add value to the world, that's how I can impact the world. And if you can see that that's my purpose here, then you're going to want to be a part of everything that we're doing anyways.
When you tell me the phone doesn't ring now and, hey, I've got this great business idea, it'd be really great to have, some of your following involved in it. I mean, you're becoming Shark Tank at this point.
Yeah. Ultimately, every day now I've got business owners come and they want me to mentor them in their business. They want me to help them 10x their business. They want me to partner with them in their business. And so, yeah, absolutely. Like, there's been tons of success from that. But the event itself is a really, really hard investment, because most people think, okay, if I put this much in, I'm going to get this much in return. But the reality is I'm building something much bigger than that event. I'm building a movement across the world of, like, I want to show people how to become successful, and success isn't just money. Success is your relationship. Success is your marriage, your parenting as a father, as a husband. Success is across the board. Everybody always uses the word happiness. I'm seeking happiness, and I don't think that's what we should be seeking. We should be seeking peace. Like, real peace is what life is about. And you can have peace in chaos. You can have peace in stress. You can have peace in craziness. Those are the ones that I want to be a part of. Those are the ones that I want to deal with. people who have real peace in life, not happiness, because that's an emotion that's fleeting. And again, for me, if I can teach people how in this life to find peace through success financially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, then I'm all in. And when we do these events, that's what people see. They're like, dude, I came to learn about my business, and you taught about marriage, and you taught about networking, and you taught about all these things that had nothing to do with my business, but I realized if I do them, my business gets better. And that's when the true value comes. It's like, oh, okay, Keaton's the real deal. Like, he's really changing big. He's making people tons of money, but he's changing big lives, and that's what I want to be a part of.
Where'd that work ethic come from? Like, you're going, man. Your phone hasn't stopped since I saw you.
Yeah.
We started here, you were on a personal coaching call, and every time I've seen you, like, you're going, like, where'd this work ethic come from?
It just derives from my obsession with progression. I just want to progress in everything. I teach in Limitless Society, there's 5 pillars to become successful, and it's what I just said. It's physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, and then financial health. And if I'm not progressing in those all the time, I feel like I'm dying. And so in that, it's like pushing me to always be going and going and going and going. Like, if I have downtime, I'm now checking the pillars to be like, all right, where can I focus? What can I grow in? Where do I need to learn? Where do I need to grow? What do I need to focus on? And that's what continually drives me. Like, in my marriage is phenomenal. But every day I'm like, how do I get better in my marriage? You know, like, my relationship with God, phenomenal. But every day I'm like, how do I get better in that? I make tons of money, but every day I'm like, how do I make more money? I have tons of time with my family, and every day I'm like, how do I get more time with my family? That is the thing that pushes me to continue to be a savage in my work ethic. It's the desire to progress, and I don't even think I have a choice to slow down. If I slow down, I'm probably going to die, because that's ultimately what I want.
Yeah. When's the next Limitless Arena event? Do you know
So,
yet?
yeah, I don't have a date yet. I'm waiting for Tony Robbins. The next event will be Tony Robbins, Ed Milet, Andy Frisella, and myself. I'm cutting down the speakers. I'm going to go with the most powerful speakers on the planet. But it's going to be planning on being in May of next year. And I'm most likely going to have Post Malone come and perform, which I'm really excited about. But as soon as I get everything nailed down, I'll have dates. And then as soon as I have dates, you're going to see it everywhere, because it's such a powerful event. I want everybody there.
If they're not following you already, they might have been under a rock for the past decade, but where are you sending someone right now? They want to come find your stuff.
Yeah, so everybody that wants to find my stuff, I have about 6 million followers between all the platforms, but the one that I focus on, the one that I answer all my messages, is my Instagram. It's _muscle. So if anybody wants to get in contact with me, I tell them to go there. I literally answer every one of my DMs. I get thousands a day. I'm always answering them because I like to connect with people. So if there are people that are listening that want to connect, it's _muscle on Instagram.
And then they could find a Limitless Society
They can
through
find
your
everything
Instagram?
there, yeah.
Okay.
Everything is there. Limitless Society.
You have 800 people on a call on a Wednesday.
It's crazy.
Wild, man.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy.
cool.
We have thousands of people in Limitless Society now, all over the world. Mexico, Canada, Australia, Germany, all over the United States. And it's such a cool network because it's so many cool people that are connecting. Lots of people are doing business inside. Lots of people are supporting each other. It's such a dope community that we're building. But yeah, you can get all that information from my Instagram.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time today around who you're being that's allowed you to create what you're creating. And what I'll push people towards is the rest of your content. And I believe, because I've seen it, I now, I have buddies that it's impacting their lives by attending your events, and coaching with you personally are now involved in spreading that message. But man, if you want to catch on fire, get near the fire. Is what a mentor once told me. And
I like that saying. I'm going to steal it.
Yeah, please do. I mean, he was just like, man, every time you speak, I feel like the room catches on fire. And he's like, yeah, I am the fire.
Yeah.
And you have that about you. If there's something I appreciate about your content more than anything, is that if you could just strip it down to the bare minimum, it's that it's possible if that's what you want.
Absolutely.
I don't feel like you have anything about you're a loser if you're not, or you're anything. It's just, guys, I'm telling you, from somebody that didn't get all A's in school and didn't graduate from college and started businesses and exited businesses and had some failures and some successes more than others. Like, it's possible if you want it. And man, that's a universal message that I hope people could get from spending time around you. And
I appreciate that.
thank you for being willing. I mean, that's no joke. From the first time we have mutual friends and all that, but from the first time I was around you, it was approachable and it was giving back. Oh, hey, yeah, listen, if you want to know how much this helicopter is, here, let me link you with this person. Hey, here's my pet. Hey, ask him. You know, like, you're a giver, and I believe that will continue to serve you, man. I thank you for the stuff that you put out.
Absolutely.
And thanks again for having us in your home.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad the fire didn't get to it last week. Yeah.
Me too.
We appreciate it. Thanks for being on A Million Ways to Make $1 Million. And Keaton The Muscle, we appreciate you.
Thanks, brother.
Yep.
Dad, are you sure you know what you're doing?